The delightful adventure of teaching your child to read, the Charlotte Mason way, progresses in 3 steps. First, you play with letters and sounds, and then you put them together to build words. This video is going to be about level 3, the 3rd step of the process, and it's all about helping your child move from reading individual words to reading sentences and paragraphs and whole books. If your child can read a couple of hundred words, short vowel words, long vowel words, vowels with R and with W, and blends like TH and SH, ING, these types of basic phonics, then he should be ready for this level 3 kit, from words to books. If he's not reading a wide variety of words yet, look at the level 2 kit, Words I Can Build. In level 3, from words to books, you will be doing formal reading lessons with your child every day, but the lessons should be very short, no more than 10 or 15 minutes at the most. And with Charlotte Mason's brilliant methods for teaching reading, those lessons are going to remain multisensory. Let me show you what's in the kit, and then I'll show you how to use everything in a Charlotte Mason style reading lesson. You will have a teacher book that walks you through everything I'm going to tell you step by step. You'll also have a delightful reader. This has classic passages in it for your child to learn to read. Even in beginning reading lessons, Charlotte encouraged us to avoid using twaddle. So this reader contains a poem by Robert Louis Stevenson, a scripture passage from Proverbs, an Aesop's fable, and a sweet letter of encouragement written somewhat in Beatrix Potter style. You also get the My Word Book journal, with a cover ready for your child to decorate and make his own. And you'll get 6 decks of ready-to-use word cards, plus letter and blend cards that you can cut apart, and you'll be all set to begin. Now, let me walk you through a reading lesson the Charlotte Mason way. Everything I'm about to show you and tell you is in the teacher book. We're going to start with the poem Rain, and we'll teach just this first line first. You'll need the student's copy of the poem, the letter tiles, and those 6 word cards, The rain is falling all around. Put those 6 word cards in a pile. Then when it's time for the lesson, you're going to come at that first line of the poem on a 2-pronged approach. Let's start with the first prong, which is teaching those words as sight words, as whole words. Do it out of order. So maybe we'll start with the word rain. Here's what you do. Write the word rain on a whiteboard or blackboard. Tell the child what it is, or maybe he can read it for himself, either way, and then talk about that word. Help your child form a relation with that word, so it's not just abstract symbols or scratches somewhere on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard. When was the last time we had rain at our house? What do you like to do in the rain? Help him form that relation. Then have him look closely at that word, and once he can close his eyes and see it in his mind's eye, cover up that word on the whiteboard and see if he can find the word rain in that pile of word cards. When he finds rain in that pile of word cards, next, have him see if he can build that word using his letter tiles. Now we've got a gentle introduction to spelling, but the child does not have to know how to write. Brilliant. So, have him make the word rain with those letter cards. And make sure you watch. If he starts to hesitate, or he's not quite sure which letter comes next, uncover the word on the whiteboard or write it on there again so he has a model to follow. We want him to see that word spelled correctly as much as possible in these beginning reading lessons. Don't let him guess at it. So once he has made the word rain using those letter cards, then have him find the word rain. Say, can you find it here? And show him the poem in his delightful reader. See if he can find it there on the printed page. Charlotte likened this to recognizing the familiar face of a friend in a crowd. So you want your child to be able to recognize that word in different settings, different sizes, different fonts. That's what you're doing with all of these steps. After he has done those steps with rain, write it up in the corner of the whiteboard, and then we'll do those same steps with another word from that first line. Maybe we'll do the word all next. So do the same steps. Write it on the board, talk about it, see if he can picture it in his mind's eye, and then let him find it in the word card pile. See if he can make it with his letter tiles. If not, uncover it, let him see it, and then see if he can find it on the printed page. When he's done those steps and knows the word all, put it up there right next to rain, and every time you add a new word up there to the list that he's learned, review all of them that are up there. And go in different orders, not just top to bottom every single time. Now, once he has learned all 6 of those words, and let me just tell you, it might be more than one lesson. Remember, we're keeping these lessons short. He might know enough of those words that you'll just whip right through them in 10 minutes, and that's fine. Other children might need to take longer, and that's fine too. Go at your child's pace. When the timer dings for your 10 or 15 minutes to be up, just stop there, and tomorrow pick up at that point. So once he knows those 6 words, now we're going to have some fun with them. Let him take those 6 word cards and build sentences, whatever he wants them to say. He could say, all the rain is around. He could say, the rain is around. Is the rain around? And you can make some sentences for him to read, or you could write them on the whiteboard for him to read. After he's had fun making sentences, be sure to enter his 6 words in his word book. This is his special treasure chest. This is where he's going to keep track of all the words that he is learning how to read. And you can use it for fun review, just informally at other times. You could flip open to a page and say, let's read all the words on here that start with S, or something like that. That's just informal at other times. Now, that's the first prong approach to that first line of poetry. The rain is falling all around. We've taught them as sight words, as whole words. Next, we're going to come back and do the second prong of the approach. That's going to be going through those words and doing word building with them to reinforce those basic phonics. If your child has done level 2, Words I Can Build, he's very familiar with how word building works. Once again, we're going to take those 6 words, pull out the 6 word cards, lay them out, make sure your child remembers what they are. Then choose one. Go in a different order. Maybe we'll do all first this time. So we'll take all, and let's start building different words by putting letters in front of it. All, fall, haul, ball. Choose words that mean something to your child. As he learns each of those, do that with all 6 of the words. When you get done doing word building with all 6 of those words, can you imagine how many new words he's going to have to be able to build sentences with? He'll be able to work with those and play with those to create his own thoughts, to communicate his own ideas. And this is where I usually got stuck. I have to think of sentences using the words he's learned. Well, I'm happy to say that we have given you some wonderful suggestions of sentences in the teacher book, and you'll also find them in the Delightful Reader. If you just turn the page, you'll see here's the list of sentences that you can choose from after you have done that 2-pronged approach with the first line of the poem. So all of those sentences are provided for you. And be sure to enter all those words that he has learned in his word book, in that treasure chest of words he has learned. That's it. You just continue that 2-pronged approach as you go through each line of the poem. And at the end, he's going to be able to read that whole line for himself or the whole poem for himself. As you work your way through the lessons, you can feel confident that you're covering the 100 most commonly used words in the English language. Those 100 words make up a full half of all written material. So if you've got those 100 words covered, you know your child will have a solid foundation and be able to read much of what he encounters in print. Now, of course, there are more than just those 100 words, but you can rest assured that those 100 words are covered in these lessons, along with plenty of others. So that's how you do reading lessons in a Charlotte Mason way. Now, we like to recommend that you add in a set of readers after the rain lessons are complete, and the child can read the entire poem plus those extra sentences that you've chosen, and the ones that he's come up with on his own. Adding in some readers adds some nice variety to the reading lessons. Variety is good. You could do a reading lesson on one day and then have the child read aloud from a reader on the next day, and then do a reading lesson and then read aloud, and so on. You see how this works. We really like the pathway readers because they follow the same family of children through all the books. Our kids formed a relation with Peter and Rachel and Andrew, and they always wanted to see what was going to happen to them next. So start with first steps. I love how the first 5 stories in this book have a part for the parent to read to get the story started. And then the child just finishes the story using a few words. The new words are listed at the bottom of each page, so you can introduce them as needed. And in a short time, your child is reading the whole story himself. Teaching your child to read is a delightful adventure. Once your child has completed level 3, he will be standing on the brink of a wonderful adventure of his own. He will have entered the exciting world of reading books for himself, and now he has only to practice that skill in order to gain fluency. So even after you have finished Kit 3, continue to have him read aloud to you from the Pathway Readers. Just keep moving on in the series. Go from first steps to days go by, to more days go by, and so on. It's been our experience that once the child can read aloud the final 3rd grade reader, More New Friends, with little or no help from you, he's good to go. You could start making the transition to having him read some of his school books. And his oral narrations from those books will let you know that he's comprehending what he's reading. Make sure your child is ready for a reading adventure of his own. Teach him to read the delightful Charlotte Mason way.